Another critical learning phase of the counting continuum is knowing one more and one less. The long-range goal for children is to learn how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide without having to count each item. This is the first step in knowing without counting. This will become a key idea when students work with addition and subtraction. Children typically learn one more before they learn one less. The size of the number should also be taken into consideration. Young children who are learning to count do not trust numbers enough to believe that it is possible to know how many there will be before they count. Once they realize that one more is the same as what number comes next, they will use the counting pattern to support. Children who understand this critical learning phase trust they know how many without counting and know the required number in the one more sequence. Learning to tell one less is more difficult for students because it's harder for them to think about what came before. The one less pattern is more difficult to learn. Children who understand the critical learning phase trust that they know how many without counting and know the required number in the one less number sequence. We can tell that numbers are not meaningful for children when they start using a sequence that does not make sense. This really shows up when children are taking one away and the sequence does not follow other familiar patterns. This means the child will have to count each time to find out how many are left or use another counting pattern, even if it doesn't make sense. When children become aware that they do not know one less and recount to find out, they are actually operating at a higher level. Children who have mastered this critical learning phase will catch themselves if they slip into a number pattern that does not work in the situation. If knowing one more is to become a useful tool for children, they need to be able to tell how many when one more is added to any number within the range they are working with. Children develop this ability as numbers have meaning. Children who understand the critical learning phase can say what number is one more than any other number within the range of numbers they are working with. When numbers come to have meaning to children, they will be able to tell how many will be left when one is taken away, even if numbers are presented in random order within the range of numbers they are working on. Children who understand the critical learning phase can say which number is one less than any other number within the range of numbers they are working with. As you are watching this next video, I want you to pay attention to the counting method, tracking ability, and what critical learning phase or phases has a student mastered or not yet mastered. Please refer to your counting continuum to reference the critical learning phases for counting objects and knowing one more, one less.
How many do you have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay, if I give you one more, how many do you have?
1,
How many do you have now?
3, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
So how many do you have?
9.
Now take a minute to turn and talk with a neighbor or quietly reflect on the counting method, tracking ability, and which critical learning phase or phases you saw the student master or not master in this video. Again, please refer to your counting continuum to reference the critical learning phases for counting objects and knowing one more, one less.